CCNB newscast. We're your news anchors, Chen and Chao. Today we have some big news for you.
That's right, Chao. First up, we're going to replay our ruler Mao Zedong's captivating speech years ago about his hopes for the Great Leap Forward. Here's a clip.
It is my hope that the Great Leap Forward, that China may reassert some independence from the Soviet Russia. I wish for the people to learn to take some responsibility for their futures, to achieve success away from foreign involvement. I wish for my people to revive the Yang spirit that burns tirelessly in every Chinese soul. To show economic strength of China's economy, to show how much we can bolster it, strengthen it, increase it in magnitude. But together, we will make a new China, a better China. It's you, the people of China, that will help me on my quest to bolster the Chinese steel production, the Chinese coal production, and the farming agricultural sector. It is you who will be in the factories, tirelessly at work, increasing our agricultural production. It is you, the common man, the common peasant, who will work tirelessly on implementing my plans for success. To increase agricultural output of China, to increase steel output, to increase all output in the economy. Here is our destiny. Now, for no questions and for no objecting opinions, let us implement the plan. Off with his head. Send them to the camps.
That clip that you just saw was a speech given by Mao 3 years ago, near the date of the implementation of the Great Leap Forward. So we gave it a couple of interviews on the spot, and here's one of the interviews that we gave.
I'm Lee, and we're here today in South China to get an interview with the young 25-year-old peasant woman, Lang Li, and her hopes for the future.
Well, me and my family, which are very much alive, are so excited to hear about Mao's new jurisdiction being implemented over this great country of China. I have so much pride in this land that our ancestors gave us, and I know Mr. Zedong has our best interests in his heart. I'm looking forward to getting off of this goddamn farm and providing our economy with God Almighty steel. We are going to live very long because of this, and I cannot fathom a world where this will go on.
Well, may I ask what you have in your hand there?
Yes, this is some steel that me and my family have handcrafted. It was melted down from my granddaddy's watches. He fought in the war, and these were his last possessions, and now he is going to make us a profit with Mao's new implementation of the Great Leap Forward. And these here, I think they're buttons. I'm not quite sure, but they fell off the fridge this morning, and there's no more cold air in our fridge, so we are going to sell this to make a profit and get a new fridge in this new China. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the interview, and good luck. How inspiring. You heard it here, folks. The CCNB news broadcast. Now, back to you, Chen.
What a wonderful family. As Chao said, that was footage from 3 years ago today.
Now let's take a look at them today. We managed to track them down, and we interviewed them. And here's their interview.
Hi, I'm Lee, and welcome back to the Wei residence we last visited 3 years ago. Let's see how their progress went during the Great Leap Forward. Hi, Mrs. Lee. Wei. How are you this fine day?
Well, I'm gonna be honest, not that great. I just buried my last relative here today, and my hopes and prayers that have not been answered by our glorious leader, Mao Zedong, for improving this country.
Well, that sounds really rough, but how, may I ask, did this all go so wrong?
Well, first of all, let's take a look at the medal I showed you last time. Apparently my granddaddy's watches were not true 14 karat gold the way he had said. Take a look at this.
Oh, this is pretty horrible. Your granddad sure died for nothing. Pretty much junk, essentially.
Yes, and basically, we just started, smelting whatever metal the way that you saw with my granddaddy's watches. And everything was going pretty great until I overheard a neighbor saying that our industrial output had only increased by 1%, which was not had been promised.
Wow, only a measly 1%? All that steel, most of it must have been useless.
Yes, absolutely. And meanwhile, I was thinking we were doing great, but then suddenly we started starving, and the food production had decreased, and people were taking our grains and whatnot. And nonetheless, now we are here today.
So is it true that while your entire family was smelting, there was no one left to grow the food?
Yes.
Okay, very interesting. Well, if you don't mind, may I ask, are these three fellows right here?
Yes, this right here is my husband, my late husband now. I am indeed single. And this is my cousin right over here, Yang. I love her dearly, but she is now gone. Hopefully in the country that Mao had promised us, because it clearly ain't here. And this here is my son, died at only 13.
Well, very interesting. But now, let's move on. You heard it here, folks. She is single and ready to mingle. But let's move on. Life out here is pretty terrible. More so than we once initially believed in South China. Back to you, Chen.
Yes, thank you, Lee. For those of you who don't know, the original goal set by Mao's plan was 10.7 million tons of steel per year in 1959, and then 60 million tons in 1960. Many peasants were told that they could get rich quickly if they focused on steel and iron production.
Over 600,000 backyard furnaces would be used, and not over 90 million people would be working them. However, all that steel that was produced would be considered completely useless, as it was terrible quality. This would lead to many of the citizens becoming like Mrs. Lang, having to bury their family members after these unsuccessful attempts at industrializing the economy.
As if that wasn't enough of a low blow to the people, the government offered little help and actually ended up taking away other resources that the people needed, such as grain. Only a promised 17% of grain was supposed to be taken away, but instead a whopping 28% was seized by the government.
As a result of the failed farming practices, most crops would end up dying, and the government would end up taking a fourth of the total country's grains. This would lead to many deaths, specifically anywhere between 30 to 55 million people would die, specifically peasants.
These deaths tended to occur in the communes that the government had established. While communes were not part of the original plan that Mao had implemented in the Great Leap Forward, he ended up encouraging peasants and farmers to leave their homes and instead join government facilities that grouped them together. He effectively abolished the ownership of private property, and the implementation of communes had been entirely experimental anyway. This led to great tragedy. The first commune opened up in Henan, China, and millions of people suffered because of it. Soon enough, there was a full-scale peasant revolt against the government. And now we interrupt our regularly scheduled broadcast for a commercial sponsored by Mao Zedong himself.
Hello! Right here we have our Mao's Red Book. And now I'll read you some famous quotes from this book. To read too many books is harmful. So that's why you should only have one book, the Mao's Red Book. This book is $100. It may seem like a lot, but it's an investment because you only need this one book. And now for the second quote. Women hold up half the sky. So that's why you only need this one book, Mao's Red Book. Order yours now for $100.
Thank you, Jessica.
I feel like I'm forgetting something. Oh yeah, our social media accounts. You should follow us on our Facebook and Instagram. Link in the description below.
Now, back to our broadcast.
Wait, we're now getting word of something new happening. Breaking news. A press conference was just set out ending the Sino-Soviet alliance. I believe we have a clip to show from our viewers today from our man in the field, Lee.
That's right, Chen. I'm over here in snowy Russia in front of the Chinese embassy where Khrushchev is about to give a press conference about the Sino-Soviet split. He's about to start.
For starters, I wish to say no ill will between the people of Russia and China. However, it's become evident to me that our goals are no longer aligned. I warned Mao that the Great Leap Forward was a dangerous gambit with a high risk of failure. As you can see, the implementation of the Soviet model in China has failed miserably. As we can see, economic growth has not increased as he predicted. Furthermore, I feel a continuation of this economic partnership with China would hinder my decolonization process, a process of which will pursue a peaceful coexistence in the world. I have based this conclusion on the Marxist-Leninist approach that Mao has done with the Great Leap Forward, which is very much at odds with my own reformist policies. I'm sorry to say goodbye to China, but I wish them the best of luck. Any questions?
Over here.
You, sir.
So, what impacts is this going to have on China?
Well, firstly, the Soviet Union will no longer continue to provide loans to China, effective immediately. And all Russian personnel will vacate China immediately and return to Mother Russia. Furthermore, all spare parts or resources will no longer be shipped through China by the Soviet Union. And finally, all factories or infrastructure half built by the Russian people will no longer be finished by the Russians. Chinese will have to do it themselves. Thank you for your time. No more questions.
Well then, ladies and gentlemen, you heard that from Mr. Khrushchev himself. China is going to have a couple of changes. They're either going to have to find a new alliance or become independent. My name is Lee, and I'm standing in Moscow, Russia.
Thank you, Lee. That was some catastrophic news. China's going through some major changes, especially from a cultural standpoint. This is why we have brought in a professional today to help us interpret these graphs on birth and death rates in China.
Here I have a list of his accomplishments. Let's see. He is a 2-time Nobel Prize winner, 3-time Oscar receiver, 5 Pulitzer Prize receiver, Purple Heart recipient, and an organ donor. Let me introduce to you to Professor Faisal. Oh, please, take my seat.
Thank you.
Thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me.
Okay, could you perhaps explain this graph here to our audience?
Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell, that graph has 2 lines, one pink and one blue. I think I was half asleep while I was doing this, and I think it was an assignment for my job. I forgot what I was doing, but I just titled it populations and just went with it.
Okay, interesting. Right, if you don't mind, could you explain what exactly made you predict these events?
Well, I predicted these events through, analysis and with a dream. And that's it. So, do you have any other questions for me?
Right. What exactly are your qualifications again? And we're back. Anyways, Chow, could you please explain what is happening here in these graphs?
Gladly, Chen. Well, as you can see, our country's birth rates have significantly declined over the precipice of the Great Leap Forward. And interesting enough, our death rates have also risen, which is also tied to the Great Leap Forward, massively risen. To worsen things off is that the experiments of these new techniques for crops have backfired massively. All of them. It actually led to a decrease in food production overall, which was not the result Mao had predicted for us. And as quality of life diminishes and food production diminishes, mortality rates, specifically infant mortality rates, starts to increase. But here, death rates are death is decreasing. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So as a result of these famines, our birth rates have also decreased because people are not focused on having a family. They're focused on survival, trying to scrounge up what food they can before the clutches of death grip them and don't let go. So yeah, that's the analysis. Back to you, Jen.
Thank you, Chow. It is sad to hear, but we have now run out of time for this broadcast. We thank you for watching CCNB, and we will be seeing you tomorrow.
Stay safe out there, China. See you next time.